In the heart of the city's fashion elite, Maya Carter steps into Preston Company with high hopes and a dream of breaking into the world of fashion management. Armed with determination and credentials, she expects a fresh start, but what awaits her is a toxic undercurrent of subtle racism, workplace sabotage, and a manager whose intentions are anything but professional. Thrown into the fire from day one, Maya must navigate elitist customers, cold co-workers, and the looming threat of a powerful man who underestimates her resolve. But Maya didn't come this far to be broken. And when the line between professional boundaries and predatory behavior is crossed, she decides she won't just survive, she'll fight back. Before we dive into Maya's story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the family. You won't want to miss stories like this, real, raw, and unforgettable. Maya Carter took a deep breath before stepping through the gleaming glass doors of Preston Company, an upscale fashion boutique known for catering to the city's elite. The store was immaculate, polished floors reflecting bright showroom lights, carefully curated displays of designer clothing, and customers who walked in with the air of superiority that only wealth could buy. This wasn't just a job for Maya. It was a stepping stone toward her dream of working in fashion management. She had studied hard, graduated with honors, and now, after months of searching, she had finally landed a position as a sales associate at one of the most prestigious boutiques in the city. Her excitement, however, was immediately met with cold indifference. The moment she walked in, the other employees, a mix of stylish yet aloof young professionals, barely acknowledged her presence. Some cast glances in her direction, whispering amongst themselves. She brushed it off. First days were always awkward. Then she met Derek Wallace, the store's manager. Derek was a tall, broad-shouldered white man in his mid-40s with slicked-back blonde hair and a permanent smirk that dripped condescension. He wore an expensive suit, but something about him felt off. His smile never reached his eyes, and his gaze lingered too long in a way that made Maya uncomfortable. "So," Derek said, his voice a little too casual as he looked her up and down, "you're the new girl." "Maya Carter, nice to meet you," she said, extending her hand. Derek stared at it for a second before shaking it half-heartedly, his grip firm but dismissive. He muttered. "You're different from what we usually hire." Maya frowned. "Different how?" Derek chuckled, the sound low and mocking. "Never mind. Just try not to cause any problems." Something about his tone sent a chill down Maya's spine. But she kept her composure and nodded. "Of course. I'm ready to work." Derek smirked and gestured for her to follow. Thrown into the fire. Instead of the usual orientation or training session, Maya was immediately sent to the sales floor. She barely had time to familiarize herself with the layout before an impatient customer demanded assistance. "Excuse me, you there? Yes, you." Maya turned to see a wealthy older woman, draped in diamonds and arrogance, beckoning her over. "I need someone to assist me. Where's the usual girl?" Maya smiled professionally. "I'd be happy to help. What are you looking for today?" The woman's gaze flicked over her, lips pursed. "Are you qualified to assist me?" Maya's patience wavered but remained intact. "I assure you, I am." The woman sighed dramatically. "Fine. But be careful. These items are expensive." Maya gritted her teeth and nodded. As she helped the woman select dresses, she noticed Derek watching from a distance, arms crossed, whispering to another employee who snickered at whatever he said. Subtle sabotage. The next few hours were an exercise in endurance. Customers ignored her, employees barely spoke to her, and Derek's presence was always looming. He found ways to undermine her at every turn, sending her to the stockroom unnecessarily, assigning her tedious tasks while others took breaks, and subtly correcting her in front of customers to make her look incompetent. At one point, Maya assisted a young black woman in picking out a dress. The moment Derek saw, he rushed over. "Everything okay here?" he asked the customer, his tone overly sweet. "Yes, Maya has been very helpful," the woman said, smiling. Derek's eyes flicked to Maya. Why don't I take over from here? Maya is still learning the ropes." Maya clenched her fists. She wasn't learning, she was being set up to fail. As the day dragged on, it became obvious that Derek had a particular distaste for her. Whether it was because she was black, because she was confident, or both, she wasn't sure. But she knew one thing: he wanted her gone. The incident. By closing time, Maya was exhausted but determined to push through. As she gathered her things, Derek approached, standing far too close. "So, how'd you like your first day?" he asked, his tone laced with mock sincerity. Maya forced a smile. "It was an adjustment, but I think I did well." Derek chuckled, shaking his head. "Confidence. Cute." His eyes lingered on her, and then he stepped even closer. Maya tensed. "You know," Derek continued, lowering his voice, "you could make things easier for yourself." Maya's stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" Derek tilted his head, his smirk widening. "I mean, if you play nice, I might be inclined to keep you around." His fingers brushed against her arm. Maya yanked her arm away, her eyes blazing. "Don't touch me." Derek's smirk faltered. "Relax, sweetheart. I'm just saying, a little cooperation goes a long way." Maya's hands curled into fists. "I'm here to work, not to cooperate with you." Derek's expression darkened. "Watch your tone." "No, you watch yours," Maya shot back. "I don't know what you think this is, but I'm not that kind of woman." Derek sneered. "Oh, you're feisty. I like that." He leaned in again, lowering his voice to a whisper. "But let me be clear, you're on thin ice. One wrong move, and I'll make sure you never work in retail again." Maya's heart pounded with anger. She had dealt with racism before, but this was something else entirely. Derek wasn't just trying to push her out, he was using his position to intimidate and control her. She exhaled sharply, forcing herself to stay calm. "I think we're done here." Derek stepped back, chuckling. "We'll see about that." As Maya turned to leave, she knew one thing for certain. This wasn't over. She wasn't just going to let him get away with this. He thought he held the power. But he was about to learn, he had just messed with the wrong woman. Maya Carter stormed out of Preston Company, her heart still hammering in her chest. The cool night air did little to calm the anger burning inside her. She clenched her fists, her mind replaying Derek's smug expression, the way his fingers had brushed against her arm like he owned her, his condescending tone when he threatened her job. Thin ice? No. He was the one walking on thin ice. Maya had worked too hard, sacrificed too much, to let some predatory racist manager bully her into submission. If he thought she would be just another scared employee too afraid to speak up, he had another thing coming. She pulled out her phone and immediately called her best friend, Jasmine. "Maya, how was the first?" "Jas, I swear to God, if I don't talk to someone right now, I might end up in jail." There was a pause. Then Jasmine's voice dropped into full-on best friend mode. "All right, girl, spill. What happened?" Maya took a deep breath and launched into everything. Derek's hostility from the moment she walked in, how he had undermined her all day, and finally, how he had the audacity to touch her and issue his little threat. Jasmine was silent for a moment before she spoke again. "Oh, hell no." "Right." Maya paced along the sidewalk. "I wanted to knock that smug look off his face, Jas." "I wish you had," Jasmine said. "But you know what? You gotta be smart about this. That kind of man? He's gotten away with this before. And he thinks he can do it again." Maya stopped walking. "You think other women have dealt with this from him?" Jasmine scoffed. "Maya, men like Derek Wallace don't just start being creeps out of nowhere. This is a pattern. And I bet if you dig, you'll find something." Maya's mind started working. Maybe Jasmine was right. If Derek had done this before, there had to be someone who had spoken out, or at least someone who had left for suspicious reasons. "I need a plan," Maya murmured. "Yes, you do. And step 1. Jasmine's voice was firm. "Do not quit. That's what he wants. He's pushing you out so he doesn't have to deal with you. Stay. Make him uncomfortable." Maya smirked. "Oh, I like that." "Damn right," Jasmine said. "And step 2? Start gathering receipts." Maya exhaled. She hated that this was necessary. That as a black woman, she had to prove she was being mistreated instead of just being believed. But she knew how the world worked. If Derek Wallace thought she was going to roll over, he was about to have the rudest awakening of his life. The setup. The next morning, Maya walked into Preston Company with renewed focus. She wouldn't let Derek intimidate her. In fact, she was going to turn the tables. She greeted her co-workers with a warm smile, making a mental note of who looked uncomfortable speaking to her and who seemed indifferent. She wasn't sure who she could trust yet. Derek was already inside, leaning against the counter with his usual smug expression. "Carter," he greeted lazily, sipping his coffee. "Back for round 2? Maya's smile didn't waver. "Of course. I plan to be here for a long time." Derek's smirk faltered just a bit before he recovered. "We'll see." "Oh, we will," Maya thought. She grabbed a small voice recorder she had hidden inside her pocket. She wasn't going to let Derek keep his harassment off the record. The morning passed without much incident, but Maya noticed the way Derek's eyes followed her. Like he was waiting for her to mess up. Then came the setup. A wealthy client, Mrs. Langston, entered the store, a woman known for being difficult. Derek immediately motioned for Maya to assist her, a gleam of amusement in his eyes. Maya understood why the second she approached. Mrs. Langston's eyes raked over her, her lips pressing into a thin line. "Where's the usual girl?" Maya kept her composure. "I'd be happy to assist you today." Mrs. Langston exhaled sharply. "Fine. But don't waste my time." For the next 20 minutes, Maya helped the woman select items, enduring passive-aggressive comments about how surprising it was that she knew fabric so well and how she wasn't expecting someone like you to be so competent. But Maya didn't crack. She stayed professional, patient. And in the end, Mrs. Langston begrudgingly purchased $4,000 worth of merchandise. As Maya rang her up, Derek appeared, his eyes narrowing. "Oh, wow. You actually managed a sale," he said, feigning surprise. Maya smiled sweetly. "Of course. It's my job." Mrs. Langston sniffed. "She did fine. I expected worse." Derek chuckled, shaking his head as if amused. "Well, we'll see if that lasts." Maya clenched her teeth. "You son of a..." Then, Derek did something that made her stomach drop. As he reached past her to grab a shopping bag, his hand grazed her lower back, a touch too deliberate, too calculated to be accidental. Maya's entire body stiffened. Mrs. Langston didn't notice. She was too busy fussing over her receipt. But Maya noticed. And this time? She wasn't letting it slide. The confrontation. The moment Mrs. Langston left, Maya turned to Derek, her voice low and steady. "Don't ever touch me again." Derek smirked. "Oh, relax, sweetheart. It was an accident." Maya folded her arms. "Like hell it was." Derek leaned in slightly. "You better watch that attitude, Carter. You wouldn't want to lose your job over a misunderstanding." Maya's blood boiled. But instead of snapping, she smiled. "Oh, I'm not misunderstanding anything." Then, she tapped her pocket, where the recorder was hidden. For the first time, Derek's smirk faltered. "You're playing a dangerous game," he muttered. Maya's smile widened. "No, Derek. You are." She turned and walked away, already planning her next move. Derek Wallace had no idea what was coming for him. Maya sat in the break room, her fingers curled around a steaming cup of coffee, staring blankly at the swirling liquid. The events of the past few days weighed heavily on her. Derek had crossed the line, and now, for the first time, she had real power to fight back. A part of her wanted to just walk away, find another job, and never deal with this mess again. But she knew that wasn't an option. If she let this slide, Derek would continue his toxic reign, harassing and abusing his power without consequences. Her phone buzzed on the table. "Come to my office. Now." "Derek." Maya clenched her jaw, took a deep breath, and set down her coffee. The time had come. A trap in the office. As Maya stepped into Derek's office, she was met with his usual smug expression. He leaned back in his chair, hands folded behind his head, his gaze dripping with arrogance. "I hear you've been talking," he said, tilting his head. Maya crossed her arms. "And?" Derek smirked. And I don't appreciate my employees spreading rumors about me. You have no idea who you're messing with. Maya raised an eyebrow. Rumors? You mean the truth? Because I have evidence. That wiped the smirk off his face. His eyes darkened. I don't know what you think you have, but let me make one thing clear, you don't win against people like me. Maya remained silent. Derek leaned forward, lowering his voice. You see, I have connections. Corporate doesn't give a damn about what you say, and if you keep pushing, you'll find yourself without a job. Or worse. Maya knew intimidation tactics when she saw them. But she also knew something he didn't, his time was already running out. She slipped her phone out of her pocket and casually tapped the screen. That's funny, she said. Because corporate actually does care. And they've been listening. Derek's face paled. His eyes darted to her phone, realizing too late that the call had been on speaker. The entire conversation had been recorded and sent. Maya turned the phone around, showing him the confirmation that the audio file had been uploaded to a secure corporate email thread. You might want to call those connections of yours, she said, slipping her phone back into her pocket. Because you're going to need all the help you can get. Corporate hits back. Derek had no idea what hit him. Within the hour, corporate executives were on the phone, demanding an immediate investigation. Employees started whispering, murmuring about an emergency meeting being scheduled. By the afternoon, 2 corporate HR representatives arrived, their presence sending a ripple of unease through the store. Maya watched from a distance as they stormed into Derek's office, closing the door behind them. Minutes later, Derek's voice erupted through the thin walls. Are you serious? This is ridiculous. Maya smirked, pretending to focus on her work while customers browsed around her. The door burst open, and Derek came stomping out, his face red with rage. This isn't over, he muttered under his breath as he stormed past Maya, his usual smugness replaced with sheer panic. The employees exchanged glances. They had never seen Derek like this before, out of control, rattled, losing. And Maya knew exactly why. The employees fight back. Word spread like wildfire. Employees who had once been too afraid to speak up now found the courage to share their experiences. Stories of Derek's racism, harassment, and intimidation began surfacing. Maya took it upon herself to compile everything: statements, recordings, emails. She worked late into the night, making sure nothing was left out. By the next morning, the HR representatives gathered everyone for a mandatory staff meeting. Derek stood in the corner, arms crossed, his jaw clenched so tightly it looked like it might snap. We take these allegations very seriously, one of the representatives announced. We are conducting a full investigation, and while that happens, Mr. Thompson has been placed on temporary leave. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the room. Derek looked like he wanted to explode, but he couldn't. Not now. Not when everyone was watching. Maya locked eyes with him. Checkmate. Instant karma. Derek being put on leave wasn't enough for Maya. She wanted real consequences. And the universe had a way of delivering exactly that. A week after his suspension, a major news outlet picked up the story. An article titled "Retail Manager Accused of Racial Harassment and Misconduct" went viral overnight. The comments section was brutal, with thousands calling for his immediate termination. Then, things got worse for Derek. A former employee, one who had quit months before Maya even started, came forward with an even bigger bombshell. I used to work under Derek, the post read. I left because of what he did to me. But I was too scared to speak up back then. I'm not scared anymore. The former employee attached documents. Receipts. Emails from Derek. Proof that he had not only mistreated employees but had also falsified reports to get black and brown workers fired. It was over. The final blow. Maya was standing at the checkout counter when she saw Derek return to the store one final time. His face was gaunt, his usual arrogant posture slumped. He walked straight past Maya, ignoring her entirely, heading for the office. Minutes later, the store manager emerged with a security guard. Derek followed behind, carrying a cardboard box filled with his things. He had been fired. Maya folded her arms as she watched him leave, savoring every second. She expected him to lash out, to throw one last insult her way. But he didn't. He didn't even look at her. Because he knew. He had lost. And Maya? She had won. Maya Carter had never been one to back down from a fight, but this wasn't just about her anymore. The moment she stepped into Benton Luxury Retail's office that morning, she knew something had shifted. The whispers stopped when she entered. Eyes darted toward her, then away just as quickly. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. She walked past a few employees who had once greeted her warmly but now seemed afraid to be seen speaking with her. Cowards, she thought. But she didn't blame them, not entirely. She knew exactly why this was happening. Mr. Richards had lost control of the narrative. The store's security footage had mysteriously vanished overnight, and corporate had yet to give a statement. But the employees? They knew the truth. And so did Maya. She had been playing defense up until now, waiting for justice to come down on Richards like a hammer. But that wasn't happening fast enough. It was time to go on the offensive. She walked straight past her section toward the manager's office, her heart steady, her mind clear. She had made a decision last night, one she had no intention of backing down from. Just as she reached for the door handle, the door swung open violently from the inside. Mr. Richards stood there, his face red, his eyes sharp and filled with rage. "You just don't know when to quit, do you?" he spat, his voice a low growl. Maya didn't flinch. She stared right back at him, her shoulders squared. "You should be more worried about yourself." His nostrils flared. "Do you think you're some kind of hero? You're just a—" Maya tilted her head, daring him to finish that sentence. For a second, he hesitated. Then, instead of finishing his insult, he stepped aside and pointed inside his office. "Get in. Now." Maya glanced around. Employees were watching from a distance, pretending to be busy. She knew they were all terrified of Richards, but they were also curious. They wanted to see how this would end. Maya stepped inside. The moment the door shut, Richards exploded. "I should have fired you the moment you walked through those doors." Maya smirked, folding her arms. "But you didn't. You harassed me instead." He took a step forward. "Too close. You think you can take me down? You think you have any power here?" Maya didn't step back. "You're afraid. That's why you're talking so much." Richard slammed his hand against his desk. "I have been in this business for over 20 years. You're nothing. You'll never work in this industry again." Maya tilted her head. "That's so?" Her calmness rattled him. His hand twitched, like he wanted to grab something. Maybe throw something. Maybe worse. Maya stayed still. She knew exactly what was coming. Richard's breathing grew heavy. "You think people like you can just waltz in here and take what isn't yours?" There it was. Maya let out a short, humorless laugh. "What isn't mine? A job? Respect? A workplace where I don't have to fear being cornered by a disgusting man like you?" Richard's lip curled. "I could ruin you." Maya took out her phone. "Say that again." Richards froze. A red light blinked on the screen. "You're recording this?" Maya raised an eyebrow. "Of course. Did you think I'd walk in here alone and unprepared? After what you did?" His hands curled into fists. "You." But before he could take a step forward, boom, the door flew open. Standing there was Ms. Delgado, the regional director. And behind her? The company's corporate lawyer. Richard's face drained of color. Ms. Delgado folded her arms. "So, you were in here threatening an employee, eh? That's interesting." Richard stumbled. This isn't what it looks like." Maya smirked. "No? Then let's play it back, shall we?" She tapped her phone. The recording played. "I should have fired you the moment you walked through those doors. You think you can take me down? You think you have any power here? You'll never work in this industry again." Each word sealed his fate like nails in a coffin. Ms. Delgado glanced at the lawyer. He nodded. "That's enough. Mr. Richards, you're fired. Effective immediately." Richards' head snapped toward him. "You can't do this. I've been here for 20 years. Ms. Delgado didn't blink. And that was 20 years too long. Security is on the way. Richards lost it. You think you can just throw me out? Over a stupid video? Maya let out a sharp laugh. Oh, Richards. That's not just any video. That's the reason you're about to lose everything. He turned on her, rage burning in his eyes. You did this. You ruined my career. Maya shrugged. No. You ruined your own career. I just made sure everyone saw it. Just then, 2 security guards stepped in. One grabbed Richards by the arm. Time to go. Richards shook him off. I'm not going anywhere. But the guards weren't asking. They grabbed him harder, dragging him toward the door. Get your hands off me. I'll sue all of you. You'll regret this. His voice faded down the hall, but no one cared anymore. Maya exhaled. It was over. She turned toward Ms. Delgado, who studied her carefully. You handled yourself well, Maya. You didn't just expose Richards, you showed us the kind of person you are. Maya lifted an eyebrow. And what kind of person is that? Ms. Delgado smiled. The kind we want in leadership. Maya blinked. Wait, what? The lawyer chuckled. We were going to promote someone soon anyway. Consider this a test. And you passed. Maya stared. Ms. Delgado extended a hand. How would you like to be the new store manager? Maya glanced at the empty desk where Richards once sat today. She smiled. I'd love that. And just like that, justice was served. To be continued. Richards thought he could get away with it. He thought he could bully and abuse his power without consequences. But he was wrong. Maya didn't just survive. She won. But is this truly over? Or is there more beneath the surface? Maya Carter had won. Richards was gone, dragged out of Benton Luxury Retail in front of everyone, kicking and screaming like a child denied his favorite toy. His reign of terror had ended, and now, the store was free from his racist, predatory grip. But even with his exit, Maya wasn't done yet. She had secured her position as the new store manager, but there was something bigger at stake. The corporate team had only stepped in when their hands were forced. They had let Richards operate like this for years, ignoring complaints, brushing aside evidence. If she truly wanted change, she had to go beyond one man. And she had a plan. 1 week later, the corporate headquarters of Benton Luxury Retail was a sleek, towering building in the heart of the city. Inside, the air smelled of money and power, the kind that let men like Richards flourish for years. Maya had been summoned here for a formal meeting with CEO Jonathan Sinclair and the company's top executives. She knew exactly why. Damage control. They wanted to sweep everything under the rug, offer her a polite promotion, and pretend nothing ever happened. Not today. Maya stepped into the boardroom. The men at the long, polished table barely acknowledged her, too busy looking at their notes. Ms. Delgado, the only friendly face in the room, gave her a reassuring nod. Jonathan Sinclair, a man in his 60s with silver hair and sharp blue eyes, cleared his throat. Ms. Carter, we appreciate you coming in today. We understand the situation with Mr. Richards was regrettable. Maya's jaw clenched. Regrettable? Asterisk, let's be clear, sir. The situation was a racist, abusive manager who harassed his employees for years, and you all let it happen. The air in the room grew tense. Sinclair shifted in his seat. Yes, well, we do take these matters seriously, which is why we'd like to formally welcome you into management. Maya raised an eyebrow. That's it? You think a title makes up for everything? Sinclair's lips pressed together. We believe moving forward is the best course of action. Dwelling on past mistakes won't help anyone. Maya let out a short laugh. Past mistakes? People like Richards have been hurting black employees for years while you all turned a blind eye. That's not a mistake. That's a system you built. The room fell silent. Sinclair sat back, studying her. Ms. Carter, what exactly are you suggesting? Maya leaned forward. A full internal investigation. Every complaint that was ignored, every incident that was buried, I want them reopened. Murmurs rippled through the room. A bald executive scoffed. You expect us to dig up old files and risk lawsuits? Maya met his gaze. I expect you to do what's right. Sinclair sighed. Ms. Carter, let's be reasonable. Maya smiled. A cold, knowing smile. Then, she took out her phone and hit play. The recording of her conversation with Richards echoed through the boardroom. I should have fired you the moment you walked through those doors. You'll never work in this industry again. You people think you can just take what isn't yours. The executives froze. Sinclair's face drained of color. Maya let it play in full. Then, she set her phone down on the table. Now imagine what would happen if this got leaked to the press. Imagine what else I might have. Sinclair's hands clenched into fists, but he knew he was cornered. Maya tilted her head. So, are we reopening those cases? Or should I call a few reporters? Ms. Delgado hid a smirk. The rest of the executives looked anywhere but at her. Sinclair's jaw worked. Then, finally, he nodded. We'll review past complaints. And enforce stricter policies. Maya nodded. Good choice. And one more thing. Sinclair sighed. What? Maya smiled. You're going to make sure Benton Luxury Retail hires more black employees. And not just in sales, in management, in corporate, in leadership. Sinclair grimaced, but he saw the fire in her eyes. The determination. He nodded. Fine. We'll make the changes. Maya stood. Now we're done. She turned and walked out, head held high. She had come in as an employee. She left as a force of change. 1 month later, Benton Luxury Retail announced sweeping reforms. New policies. An internal investigation. The hiring of diversity officers. The store that had once tried to silence her now used her as an example of change. And Maya? She thrived. She rebuilt the store's culture. Promoted employees who had been overlooked. Gave power to those who had been ignored. She had done what most people only dreamed of. She had beaten the system. And as for Richards? He tried to sue. He lost. No one would hire him. His name became poison in the industry. Instant karma. Maya Carter had made sure of it. And she never looked back. The end. Maya walked into that store as a victim. She walked out as a leader, a fighter, and a symbol of justice. Richards thought he could ruin her. Instead, she ruined him. And in the end, the right person won. And just like that, justice was served. Maya stood tall, proving that no matter how much power someone thinks they have, the truth will always win. The manager thought he could get away with it, but in the end, karma came knocking. But what do you think? Did he get what he deserved? Let me know in the comments. If you love this story, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another powerful story like this one. There's so much more to come, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. See you in the next one.